Hi, this is Joseph Tan from goodmonday.com. Let's talk about engagement competency number one. What is the competency for the manager in such a way that the employee is able to strongly agree with this statement, saying, "My manager sets clear expectations for my work." What does this involve? Because if your employee is able to strongly agree with this statement, you are a step closer towards creating an engaged culture. The first competency is to set high expectations and facilitate regular communication. It's kind of interesting that most of the expectations set between the manager and the subordinate is usually set during the interview process. That's when expectations are sorted out. But thereafter, once the interview is over and the job starts, then the expectations it's left wandering on its own. And although the employee here relatively wants to do a good job, the manager, on the other hand, often try to manage by remote control. And this will not work because the employee here needs regular reinforcement as to what she will need to do in order to perform a good job. So a manager needs to go beyond the interview mentality and must practice the habit and competency of regular team briefing. Learn to brief your team at least once every 2 to 3 days. They do not know what you are thinking. And also, if you learn to have regular team briefings, team members also have the advantage of knowing what's going on with the other team member, and they could highlight issues for discussion, and you could have the sharing of ideas and best practices. Regular team briefings and setting expectations is key to creating an engaged culture. Secondly, in line with setting expectations, the competent manager that creates an engaged culture also reward employees based on achieved outcome rather than following routine. Let me explain. In order to set clear expectations, the manager's role is to break it down into clear outcomes. Clear outcomes that are motivating and clear outcomes that are measurable. That's the employer's job. But if you begin to even manage how and what the employee should do in order to achieve this outcome, you are actually micromanaging. And micromanaging an employee, it's almost always guaranteed to be a negative action. Why? Because you are imposing your way of doing things and your prejudices and biasness to the employee, and the employee does not have room to grow and express his or her own unique way of meeting the clear outcome. So your role as a manager is in this quadrant. Set clear outcomes as you regularly communicate it with the team, and then you have got to demonstrate trust and freedom to allow the employee to move towards the clear outcome in his or her own unique way. That's how growth happens. Instead of micromanaging, employees are actually looking up to managers for a set of stable core values and priorities. On a daily basis, the employee is likened to be on a boat in an ocean of demands and expectations, both from internal and external customers. And in the face of such ongoing demands, there are times where the employees will feel distracted. The employee may feel stressed and frustrated. In such a situation, the manager needs to step in. The manager needs to step in and reminds the employee on a constant basis what is the compass. and to take time to share what is the strategic big picture of what we are all doing in the first place. A very practical way to create an engaged culture is when managers regularly interact with the employees to help them sort out priorities. I mean, the employee doesn't need to be told what to do in terms of step 1, step 2, step 3. They are already competent to do that, but they need you to motivate them by helping them to sort out priorities. What is important and what is urgent, because in the ocean of demand, everything seems to be important, but they need you to filter that through by demonstrating stable priorities. And also, as an engaged manager, you must not be drowned into the ocean of demands. You must be able to take a step back, call upon your true north, and be able to articulate what are the core values of the organization or of your department, and the reason why you are doing what you are doing, and just bring the employee back to a set of core values that they can depend on, because a strong set of core values will be able to motivate them to learn how to say no to requests that might be urgent but not important. So remember, as the employee navigates through the ocean of demand, they are looking to you for stability. That's key in creating an engaged culture. So the first engagement competency has to do with clear expectations. In fact, expectations, they are the number one killer of relationships, because if expectations is cloudy and muddy, both parties are not on the same page, and conflict and disengagement and turnover can result as a consequence of expectations that are not set clearly and regularly. So towards this end, learn to have regular team briefings. There is no such thing as too much communication. The trouble is there is too little communication. So regular team briefings every 2 to 3 days is essential to keep the flow going. Secondly, instead of micromanaging, learn to set clear outcome. That's your role as a competent manager who engages the team. Clear outcome that is both motivating and measurable. Then let the employee go free to be able to leverage on their strengths to meet that clear outcome. And finally, learn to anchor your team with stable values and priority, because the team can only rise as high as the leadership, and they are looking at you to provide the navigating purpose as they navigate through the ocean of demand on a daily basis. By helping them to sort out their priorities and giving them a set of values that they can count on and depend on, you are actually creating a very motivating environment to be able to meet your clear expectations. Then you are one step closer towards creating an engaged culture in your team. This is Joseph Tan here from goodmonday.com. Thanks for watching.